Hi, welcome to Azariah's Fiber Arts. My name is Sarah, and I am the artist and designer behind Azariah's Fiber Arts. Hit the like or subscribe button anytime while you're watching. All right, let's get into it. If you've been crocheting for a while, or you're newer to crochet, you might wonder, why so many different stitches? Why the single? Why a half double? Why a double? Why not just use the same thing for all of it? Other than, for obvious reasons, they're different heights, but other than that, what are the actual differences? So this is a single crochet. This one is half doubles. And then this one is doubles. I chained a foundation that would give me 20 stitches across for each of these. I used the same hook and the same weight of yarn for each of these. And then I worked what I felt like was a number of rows that would make a square. So they should have come out closer to the same size. So that's why, so on the half double, I would have been short that much or over that much. So that was a choice I made. On the double, so the double's pretty much square. And the single, it's pretty much square. This is its chain end. Singles, with their chain, they behave slightly differently. You really want to swatch, and I don't mean just a little swatch. I mean, this is only 20 stitches, at least 20 stitches to give you an idea of what to expect of how it to behave. And when I meet these corners this way, it does better. It's down here that it gets hinky, and it's because that end flares out. And you can see that when I lay it this way. That's another thing. The singles want to curl. This is not blocked. These are just as they were. You can see, and it's not because there's more stitches down here than there is up here. It just flares more. Which is great at the bottom, because that means you've worked your chain loose enough that the crochet piece can do what it needs to. You can fix some of that in blocking. If your crocheted piece is going to be a single crochet coaster, which is, they're great because there's not a lot of area for the condensation to drip through and things like that. You're going to want to practice with this and possibly even make an unusual decision. You might want to go down a hook size for this chain and then work your first row. Okay, so the single crochets are the shortest. They're the shortest that actually grow. I mean, we use slip stitches on occasion, but usually that's to make something tight, like in the wrist of a mitten or something. It's not for anything to grow. So single crochets are the shortest. They curl the most. Even if this guy was blocked, it would probably still want to curl a little bit. But even just as simple as one round of single crochet edging will make it lay down and behave. It will also straighten out some of this. Not a lot. Again, if this is going to make or break your project, swatch. Okay, so this piece is square and this piece is square. And they're both 20 stitches. See, this lines up nicely, right? This is that chain edge right here on the single crochets. If I turn this guy over, he comes up slightly short, so he's going to end up stretched out if I were to join these two pieces together. Single crochets are tighter. They're snugger to each other, even though it's very similar to a double crochet. Double crochet just has an extra loop. It's weird. This is why you have got to swatch, especially if it's a new stitch or something you've never done before. And to count your single crochets, figure out how to make it behave first. You can see that there's rows. Okay, each of these rows, and then there's a line. So there's a row, but there's a line, and you can fill it's almost like a bump. So here's a dip and then a bump and another dip. there are 2 rows between each of these dips. And if you're, depending on which side you're on, there will be 2 rows below this dip or only 1. So right here, there's 2. If we turn it over, changes the location of the dip. So here's the dip and there's only 1. This makes for easy counting. So at the top of each dip, we can do 2. We can say it's 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and then there's 20. There would be another dip here if there was another row. So we have 20 rows. So to count that on the back, it would look like, okay, so we have 1 here. So remember, we've got 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and then there's 1 over here, so that's 19, and the one from the beginning, and that's 20. So that's how you count single crochet rows. Half doubles. Half doubles, I'm going to do a more in-depth video on, because there's a lot of options. We're not going to cover all those here. This is just how it lays and behaves. I think the camera's picking it up. It's like bumps, okay? So each of the bumps is 2 rows. If we go this way, so we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and then this guy down here is 15. You can turn it this way. Here's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and then there's number 15. Those bumps are created because when you make that half double crochet and you yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook, there's a ridge that is created. And this hat is made entirely of half double crochets worked in the round. Worked flat, worked in the round. So when you work flat, this edge comes out. When you work in the round, however, it doesn't come out on the right side. They're all on the wrong side. All of them. So it looks very consistent on this side, and it looks very consistent on this side. And then the reason this is rolled, so this is rolled up. So what I did is I actually changed and turned the hat inside out so that I could work the brim and it matched the rest of the hat. Half double crochets have this loop right here. Like I said, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to talk about this loop and why it's there and what things you can do with it and how you can work flat and make it look like this, like you worked in the round, and it be consistent on the front and the back. Okay. Half doubles lay better. It behaves better. You see it's square. Matches up on both ends to the doubles. This is how it does to the singles. Again, the singles comes up short, or the doubles is over, however you want to look at that. But on that foundation chain on the single, it is the same as the top of the half doubles. So that's half doubles. Now double, everybody knows double. Double's curling a little, but it's because I had it folded, I think. You can usually convince it to lay pretty flat. We've already discussed that it's square and that it meets the edges of the other pieces, but it hasn't flared. But it's also the most holy, the most see-through of the fabrics. This one is really good, in my opinion. I have grown to love half double. I've gotten really fast at them. I love the fabric it makes, the way it feels. You see how drapey it is? Again, same hook, same yarn. This one's not quite as drapey. He's stiff. Can't see through him, which, like, for a coaster is great. This is going to be great for a top, like a sweater or a t-shirt or something. I would hesitate for this for a t-shirt. Makes great sweater because it's even drapier than the half doubles. And while a lot of people complain, crochet so holy, and you can see through it, you know, when you have the correct yarn, the correct fiber content in your yarn, that's not going to be cold. That's actually going to be helpful because it creates the air pockets and keeps you warmer. Now, if the wind blows, that's a different story. But crochet and knit are both not great in the wind. If there's a breeze, you're going to feel the air come through. You need felted things if you're going to prevent the air coming through, or like actual animal hide or something. Doubles lay down and they behave. So to count them, so you can see that this is the wrong side and this is the right side. And it almost has a striped look going on, which blends and goes away when you have the full piece done, like a blanket laying on a couch. It's not going to look like it's a striped blanket from across the room. But because you know what you're looking at and you're closer, you can know that this is the wrong side and this is the right side of these stitches. I'm not saying that this is like actually the right side of the fabric. So you count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And if we flip it over, then this is the right side and this is the wrong side. If you want to count the right sides, you can start at the top, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Or you can go, okay, I've got one here. Remember, there's 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got another one up here, so that's 9. One from the beginning, that makes 10. There's different ways you can count these stitches so that you can keep up. Now, these stitches can all be mixed together as well. I have a pattern for a blanket. Here's a picture of it. And I will drop the link to it in the description below. And the body of it just alternates a row of doubles, a row of singles, a row of doubles, a row of singles, and that's it. That's so it didn't have this stripy look, which I don't think, like I said, it won't anyway. I just like changing it up a little bit, but not a whole lot. But you can try all kinds of stuff. Try half doubles with something. The only thing that you need to be cautious about and be aware of what you're doing is if you put them in the same row, it's going to create, because they're different heights, you have to compensate for that on the next row or the next round. And there's a lot of patterns out there that utilize that. Crocheted fabric characteristics. If this tutorial was helpful for you, please hit the like button. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Thank you for watching. If you have more questions, you're welcome to leave a comment below or email me, Sarah@azariasfiberarts.com. Happy making!